In this class, I am going to take up bacterial protein synthesis and intervention by different antibiotics. Okay? So, learning objectives in this lecture are introduction, brief introduction to the topic, that is about the protein synthesis, then biochemical machinery required or requirements for bacterial protein synthesis, then steps involved in translation, then inhibitors of protein synthesis. So, this is about the bacterial protein synthesis and inhibition by different antibiotics. So, coming to the introductory aspects, the proteins are required by the bacteria for their growth and survival and also for the division. So, these proteins are macromolecules and they cannot be picked up from the environment simply. Every organism has to synthesize its own proteins, and there are different types of proteins, structural proteins which are essential for the maintenance of the structure of the bacteria, transport proteins and functional proteins like enzymes. Now, if you look at the basic difference between the mammalian protein synthesis, eukaryotes, and the prokaryotes like non-nucleated cells, there in case of mammalian cells, they are different process, two different process, one is transcription and second is translation. So, once the entire mRNA is synthesized, then that comes to the cytosol and will be translated on the ribosomes. Whereas, in case of bacteria, these two processes are tightly linked. That means, there is no nucleus. So, once the transcription starts, part of the mRNA is synthesized and translation starts immediately. So, these two processes are tightly linked. There are certain differences in the biochemical machinery that are required for the bacterial protein synthesis. First is mRNA. So, this mRNA is transcribed from DNA. It has got codons. Codon means it is a triplet of nucleotides, that is a genetic code. So, each codon codes for a particular amino acid. So, codons are triplets containing nucleotides, they are nothing but the genetic codes, each codon codes for a specific amino acid. And here there is one start codon on the mRNA, there is start codon, and this is known as translation initiational region or TIR. Start codons are always AUG. Most of the mRNAs contain start codon as AUG. This accounts for about more than 90%. Then GUG and UUG, these are the start codons. So, AUG means this encodes for methionine, this is for valine and this is for leucine. And at the end there is a stop codon, means here the protein synthesis stops. Stop codons are UAA, UAG and UGA. Okay? So, that is mRNA, the basic requirement, that is transcribed from DNA and it gets translated on the ribosomes. So, it has got the start codons, AUG is the major start codon, and there are stop codons, means for these codons there are no anticodons. Totally for 20 amino acids there are 64 codons. Out of 64, 61 have anticodons, remaining 3, those 3 they do not have anticodons, that is why they are considered as stop codons. Protein synthesis stops there. Then second is ribosome or ribosomes. Ribosomes, there is difference between the mammalian ribosomes and the bacterial ribosomes. So, here in case of bacteria, even in case of mammals, there are two subunits. One is called as 50th subunit of the ribosome and second is 30th subunit. S stands for Swedberg units, that is the unit of sedimentation, not the mass. So, if both are combined, then this will be a 70th ribosome. Whereas in case of mammalian cells, it is 60S and 40S combined together, that becomes 80S. Now, if you look at the individual components of these ribosomes, 50S, it has got 3 sites. One is A site, and second is P site, third is E site. A means acceptor site or amino acid site. P site means peptidyl site or peptidyl transferase site. E site means exit site or ejection site. And this has got other different subunits also, like 23S, 5S plus 34 proteins. That is the composition of this 50S subunit. And 23S, it has got 2900 nucleotides, and this has got 120 nucleotides. And 23S, it has got an enzyme activity that is very important, which is known as peptidyl transferase, that is present in the 50S subunit, which is responsible for the formation of peptide bond. Then coming to the 30S subunit of the ribosome, this has got 16S subunit, and there are 21 proteins. Now, here also there is one significance. This subunit has got decoder function. So, that means 30S subunit decodes the codons present on the mRNA, and subsequently corresponding amino acid tRNAs with relevant anticodons will join there. Okay. Then subsequently peptidyl transferase activity takes place. So, that is about the ribosomes. These are nothing but the ribonucleoprotein complexes, which are the basic biochemical machinery for the synthesis of proteins. Next requirement, tRNA. tRNA, this is charged one, that is amino acid tRNA, because it has got the amino acid attached to the tRNA covalently, and this is anticodon, triplet anticodon. And there are 2 different types of tRNAs. One is known as initiator tRNA. Initiator tRNA, in case of bacteria, most of the cases it is formyl methionine tRNA. So, this is the initiator tRNA, and it always binds to the P site. Then second, elongator tRNAs. Elongator tRNAs, they bind to the A site, okay, here. So, these are the basic biochemical machinery required for the synthesis of proteins or for translation. mRNA, this is transcribed from DNA, and this is the bridge between DNA and the proteins. Okay. So, based on this, the protein amino acids are added like beads in a string. The next ribosomes, there are 2 subunits, 50S and 30S. 50S has got peptidyl transferase activity, and 30S in this 16S has got decoder function, decoding the message. Then tRNAs, 2 types of tRNAs, initiator tRNA, that is always formyl methionine tRNA most of the times. The next is elongator tRNA. So, initiators, they bind to P site, and elongators, they bind to S. First step is initiation. Initiation, and this requires certain factors like initiation factor 1, 2 and 3. Then second is elongation. Elongation requires certain protein factors, elongation factor Tu, then elongation factor Ts, Tu means thermo unstable, Ts means thermostable, then EFG. Then next step is termination. Termination, here also certain factors are required. One is RF1, second is RF2, then third is RF3. So, now I will explain the steps one by one. So, say for example, this is the mRNA. As I told you, it has got different codons, and always the protein synthesis starts at the start codon. Okay? Say for example, this is the start codon. Remember, the first codon is not necessarily a start codon. Start codon means it should have AUG. So, this may be a nonsense codon. So, protein synthesis does not start here. Say for example, this is AUG. Okay? Now, in the initiation, what happens is the 30th subunit of the ribosome, because it has got the decoder function, that searches on the mRNA for the start codon. So, once the start codon is found, this is the translation initiation region. So, the 30th subunit comes and binds. So, this is 30th, and to that initiation factor 3 is attached. So, from the separation of the ribosomes until the binding of 30th subunit on the mRNA, this IF3 is present. Okay? So, in the first step, following identification of the start codon, 30th subunit is coming and binding at this point at the translation initiation region. And at this point, IF1 is also attached to the 30th subunit. So, 30th subunit is carrying those two initiation factors. There is 3 and 1. Role of 1 is to protect this part. So, to prevent the binding of elongated tRNAs, I have told you initiated tRNA must bind at P site, and elongated tRNAs will bind on the second codon. Okay? So, for prevention of premature binding of elongated tRNAs, IF1 protects this site. And subsequently, what happens is the initiated tRNA is brought to the start codon by the IF2. So, IF2 brings this one. So, those are the roles of 3 initiation factors. Initiation factor 1 is protecting the A site, then it also facilitates the binding of initiated tRNA at the start codon, then IF3 will remain there till all the processes are completed. So, step 1 is binding of 30S, step 2 is binding of formyl methionine tRNA, and then step 3 is now this will come out, IF3 will be removed, and now the 50S subunit joins. This is 50S. So, that is the sequence of events that take place in the formation of initiation complex. Now, this complex is called as initiation complex. So, first step 1 is binding of 30S with mRNA, then step 2 binding of formyl methionine tRNA to the mRNA ribosome complex. And then step 3 is binding of 50S with 30S. So, this completes the formation of initiation complex. So, that is about initiation. 3 factors are involved here. Okay. Then next is elongation. In the elongation, what happens is once this is bound, IF1 is removed. This is new incoming amino acid tRNA with specific anticodon. So, in the next step, the elongated tRNAs are added subsequently. So, this is initiator tRNA. Now, this will join at A site, elongator tRNA. So this is elongator. And based on codon anticodon recognition, this elongator tRNA joins at A site. Then in the next step, in the elongation, peptidyl transferase reaction. So in the peptidyl transferase reaction, what happens is, this amino acid that is present on the tRNA at P site will be removed, and this will be added to the amino acid tRNA present at the A site. So it will be like this. So this is amino acid 1, this is amino acid 2. That is peptidyl transferase reaction to form the peptide bond between the amino acid that is removed from the tRNA of A site, and that amino acid is added to the amino acid present on the tRNA of A site. So here there is formation of the peptide bond, first peptide bond is formed. Now in the next step, there is translocation. Translocation. So this is catalyzed by UFG, and other elongator factors like I have told you, there is thermo unstable that helps in the binding of elongator tRNA. Okay. Following binding, it brings actually this elongation factor brings the new amino acid tRNA to the A site. Once that is bound properly, then EFTS removes this, removes the EFTU from the elongator tRNA. Okay. Then third elongation factor is EFG, that helps in the translocation. Translocation means movement of the ribosome on the mRNA relative to the codon. So there is movement of the ribosome from 5 prime to 3 prime. Okay. So now it will appear like this. So it has moved by one codon relative to the messenger. So the tRNA that is present on the P site, now it appears on the E site. Then the amino acid tRNA, or the tRNA having the peptide chain, it appears on the P site. And now this A site is free for another amino acid tRNA. Okay. So in this way, actually the protein synthesis proceeds. Now say for example, this mRNA is coded for amino acids. Okay. So now third is added, again this will be removed, right? I think you have followed. This will be removed and it will be added to the amino acid that is present on tRNA at A site. So that forms a tripeptide, and fourth amino acid is added, then fifth is added. The translation is now completed. And here the sixth codon is stop codon. Say for example, UAA or UAG or UGA. Now, wherever a stop codon is encountered, new amino acid tRNA will not be added. So, here the release factors will be attached. Say for example, at this point release factor 1 is attached to the stop codon, and subsequently this activates the peptidyl transferase enzyme. Normal course of translation, peptidyl transferase is activated. So, the amino acid or amino acid chain present on the tRNA of P site will be removed and it will be added to the amino acid present on the tRNA of A site. Now, here also the releasing factors, they trigger the activity of peptidyl transferase. Now, this will be added to a water molecule instead of new amino acid. Peptide chain will be removed by the action of peptidyl transferase and that will be added to the water molecule. Then in the next step, what happens is there is separation of the ribosomes and separation of the formed protein, mature protein. So, this is mediated by RF3, release factor 3, that is responsible for recycling of the ribosomes, and these ribosomes will be utilized for another cycle of protein synthesis. Okay. So, this is in brief about the protein synthesis. First is initiation on the mRNA based on the start codon 30th subunit joins. Then there is addition or joining of formal methionine tRNA at P site. Then subsequently 50th subunit joins there, that forms the completion of initiation complex. Then elongation starts. So, this is initiation and all these steps are for elongation. Elongated tRNA based on the codon anticodon recognition is brought into the A site by elongation factor TU. Once it joins, elongation factor TS removes this elongation factor. In the next step, there is peptidyl transferase reaction. The amino acid from the tRNA of P site will be removed and added to the A site tRNA amino acid. Then subsequently there is translocation, that is catalyzed by EFG. EFG is also known as translocase. So, the ribosome moves on by one codon relative to the messenger. Now, if you look at this point, A site is at second codon. Now, following translocation, A site appears on the third codon, another new amino acid is added, and this will continue till the completion of the complete formation of protein. Say for example, here this mRNA is coding for 5 amino acid protein, pentapeptide. So, 5 amino acids are added. Next, there will be stop codon. When stop codon is encountered, the RF1 or RF2 will come into play. Instead of tRNA, they bind to the stop codon, activate the enzyme peptidyl transferase. Now, this chain is transferred onto a water molecule instead of a new amino acid tRNA. Okay? Then subsequently, once this happens, when the protein chain is transferred to the water molecule, the chain, nascent polypeptide chain, which is now mature, that will be released, and there is immediate separation of both the ribosomal subunits. 50S is separated from the 30S and they are recycled or reutilized. That is the synthesis. Now, let us see the drugs, antibiotics which interfere with the process of protein synthesis in the bacteria. Initiation complex is inhibited by streptomycin, then another compound is linezolid. So, these are the two molecules. Streptomycin is aminoglycoside, linezolid is oxazolidinone. These molecules interfere with the formation of initiation complex. Then addition of elongated tRNA at A site, that is inhibited by tetracyclines. Next, peptidyl transferase reaction, this is inhibited by chloramphenicol. Next, translocation. This is inhibited by macrolides and lincosamides like lincomycin, clindamycin. Then there is one more group, that is streptogramins. Streptogramins, they have got both the actions, like they can inhibit peptide transferase, they can also inhibit the translocation. So these are the different drugs or groups of antibiotics that interfere with the protein synthesis. Aminoglycosides, first is streptomycin. The streptomycin, it binds to the 30th subunit of the ribosome and subsequently inhibits the binding of initiator tRNA, formyl methionine tRNA at the P site. So this results in the inhibition of formation of initiation complex. That is the action of streptomycin, which is strongly basic trisaccharide. Whereas the other aminoglycosides like gentamicin, tobramycin, amikacin, kanamycin, netilmycin, all those compounds, they bind to the 16S subunit near the nucleotide 1492. I think number of nucleotides in 30S, 16S or 30S subunit are 1500 total. So nucleotide 1492, nearby that nucleotide there is decoder function and they inhibit the decoding. If the decoding is interfered, there is a possibility that wrong amino acids are added. If the protein is not synthesized, that is okay. But if wrong amino acid is added, then that creates the problem. So decoding, inhibition of decoding results in formation of aberrant or abnormal proteins. So these abnormal proteins, when they are incorporated into the cell membrane barrier function is lost. So when the cell membrane barrier function is lost, there is leakage of the cytosolic contents that leads to the death of the bacterium. Okay? So one way there is no formation of initiation complex with streptomycin, while others they are interfering with the decoder function. Next molecule that interferes with initiation complex is linezolid. It is oxazolidinone. Linezolid actually it binds with 50S. All aminoglycosides are bactericidal. Linezolid is bacteriostat, and this by binding with 50S prevents the binding of 50S with 30S. So third step in initiation complex is joining of 50S with 30S. So this doesn't take place, that results in the inhibition of initiation complex. That is the action of linezolid. Next, tetracyclines. Tetracyclines are bacteriostats. They bind to combine with the 30th subunit. Aminoglycosides and tetracyclines, they combine with 30th subunit of the ribosome, and these molecules prevent the binding of elongator tRNAs to the A site. So this results in premature termination of protein synthesis, incompletely formed proteins. So inhibition of protein synthesis, and these are bacteriostats. Next is chloramphenicol. Next is chloramphenicol. Chloramphenicol binds to 50th subunit of the ribosome. This is also a bacteriostat, and this inhibits the peptidyl transferase enzyme. Okay? So as a result, there is inhibition of peptide bond formation, and this also ends in inhibition of protein synthesis. Most of these compounds are reversible inhibitors, that is why they are bacteriostats. Next, macrolides. Macrolides like erythromycin, clarithromycin, azithromycin, oleandomycin, tylosin, all these compounds are macrolides. So, macrolides also bind to 50th subunit of the ribosome, and they inhibit translocase or translocation. And lincosamides also have got the same action, translocation and subsequently the maturation or formation of the complete proteins. And macrolides are also bacteriostats, lincomycin and clindamycin. They also have got the same action, they are also bacteriostats. Next, streptogramins. Streptogramins, they are there are two types, type A and type B. Type A example is dalfopristin, and this is quinupristin. And these are added 70% and 30% at the rate of 70 and 30%. And dalfopristin, this inhibits peptidyl transferase, and this molecule inhibits translocation step. If they are used separately, both are individually bacteriostats. In this case, when they are used in combination, this combination is bactericidal. Remember, any biochemical pathway, if it is sequentially interfered, that leads to the death of the bacteria. In case of sulfonamides also, that is going to happen. Sulfonamides and diaminopyrimidines are individually bacteriostats, but in the combination, they are known as potentiated sulfonamides because the MIC is drastically reduced and most of the organisms are killed. So, likewise, here also 2 different steps are inhibited, peptidyl transferase activity and translocation, that results in the bactericidal effect. So, this is about the inhibitors of bacterial protein synthesis. So, in this class you are learned the introduction to the bacterial protein synthesis, then biochemical machinery that is required for protein synthesis, then different steps in the protein synthesis like initiation, then elongation and termination, then the drugs that act on the bacterial protein synthesis. Some are bactericidal like aminoglycosides and the streptogramins, these are bactericidal, all others are bacteriostats. Okay. So, that is all for this class.